Welcome to the video of construction management. Now in this today's video, we'll be seeing the overview of construction sector. Now the contents of this video are role of construction industry in infrastructure development, components of infrastructure, construction industry, its nature, characteristics, size, structure, and a role in economic development. Then we'll be seeing construction management, its necessity, application, and finally we'll be seeing project management consultants, its role, types, selection, and appointment process. So now let us start with the video. So on completion of this video, the learners will be able to describe the role of construction industry in infrastructure and economic development. So the first point is the role of construction industry in infrastructure development. So first of all, we'll be seeing what is the meaning of construction. So construction is a series of actions undertaken by construction companies and consultants which produces or alter buildings and infrastructure. So this is the basic definition of construction. Now the construction industry. The construction industry can be divided into 2 points. The first one can be the construction of buildings and the second one can be the infrastructure. Now the infrastructure means that the infrastructure is a basic physical and organizational structures needed for the operation of society or enterprise, or the services and facilities necessary for an economy to function. So it can be generally defined as the set of interconnected structural elements that provide network supporting an entire structure of development. Now the infrastructure development and economic development go hand in hand. If attention isn't paid in this sector, it can't act as a deterrent to the economic growth. So the infrastructure can be again classified into two things: social and economical. So social means education and health, which improves the quality of life, and economical infrastructure means the energy, transport, communications, which increases the productivity. Now, these are the important components of the infrastructure. So the first one is power or energy or electricity. Next in component of infrastructure is water management. Then it is telecom or communication. Then it is transportation, and finally it is solid waste management. The first one is the transport infrastructure, which includes roads and highways, bus rapid transit system, that is BRTS, then mass rapid transit system, that is MRTS, then railways, canals and navigable waterways, then seaports and lighthouses, and finally airports are included in the transport infrastructure. The next is the energy infrastructure. So what is being included in this? The electrical power network, including generation plants, electrical grids, substations, local distribution, then natural gas pipelines, storage and distribution terminals, petroleum pipelines, including associated storage and distribution terminals, specialized coal handling facilities for washing, storing, and transporting coal. So these are the various energy infrastructure components. The energy can be classified as this: that energy can be either used commercially or non-commercial purpose. So for commercial purpose, it can be coal, petroleum, electricity, and for non-commercial, it can be firewood, dried dung, and agro wastes. So the consumption pattern of commercial energy in India. So this is the sectorial composition of the commercial energy consumption. So we can see that the residential, it is nearly 10%. Transport is consumption is 22%. Agriculture is 5%, and the most consumption is of the industry, which is 49%, and others are the 14% to the consumption. Now, power is an critical for development. We can see that the growth rate of power is higher than the growth rate of GDP. Now, again, this is the split up of sources of power. Nuclear 2%, hydroelectric power 2%, gas again 9%, then oil 36%, and finally coal, which is sharing the largest share, that is 51%. Then comes the water management infrastructure. So the components of water management infrastructure are major irrigation systems, drinking water supply, drainage systems. Now the next is the communication infrastructure, so which includes postal service, telephone networks, mobile phone networks, television and radio transmission stations, and finally the internet cables. Solid waste management infrastructure, so which includes municipal garbage and recyclables, solid waste landfills, solid waste incinerators. So these are the various components of solid management infrastructure. Now, the first point we were seeing that is the role of construction industry in infrastructure development. Now, the construction accounts for nearly 65% of the total investment in the infrastructure. So, in the 12th five-year plan, estimates of over 1 trillion US dollars were made in infrastructure. Now, the next point is construction industry nature. So it can be classified into 3 points: general contractor, heavy construction contractor, and specialty trade contractor. So general contractor. So construction of residential, industrial, commercial projects, etc. is done by general or building contractors. They specialize in one type of construction, such as residential or commercial contracts. They take full responsibility for the complete job except for specific portions which may be omitted from the general contract. The general contractor may do a certain portion of the work with their own crew, and they often subcontract most of the work to heavy construction contractor or specialty trade contractor. Now the next is the heavy construction contractor. The heavy construction contractors build highways, tunnels, bridges, sewers, etc. for an infrastructure project. And the specialty trade contractor. This specialty trade contractor usually do the work of only one trade, that is a special trade, which can be electrical work, plumbing work, etc. The next point is the construction industry characteristics. So investment on construction projects is more than 50% of the national budget. So the construction industry is the second employment generator after agriculture. So it has the capacity to absorb 5% of country's labor force directly. It can also absorb additional labor force of 5 to 10% indirectly, that is from production of materials, equipments, and other related industries. Also, a limited duration of project is one of the characteristics. Mobility of workers and companies. Unlike manufacturing industry, where products are made in plants, the companies and workers in the construction industry make the client's product on site. So we need to guess whether the construction industry is it an type of manufacturing industry or service industry. So manufacturing industry, the products quality is mostly, or products quality is depending upon the process used. If the process is changed, the quality is also differing. Okay. Now similarly, service industry, the quality is dependent upon the personnel. So the construction, for construction, it is depending upon, or it is the mixture of both. That is, it is depending upon the process also, and it is also depending upon the personnel also. So it will be a mixture of manufacturing industry and service industry. Now we'll be seeing what is GDP and what is GNP. So GDP is the standard for gross domestic product. So this is the largest quantitative measure of a nation's total economic activity. More specifically, GDP represents the monetary value of all goods and services produced within a nation's geographic borders over a identified period of time. Whereas GNP means gross national product, which is a broad measure of nation's total economic activity. GNP is the value of all finished goods and services produced in a country in 1 year. Now we'll be seeing the next point, that is the role of construction in economic development. The construction industry of India is a major contributor towards India's GDP, both directly and indirectly. So after agriculture, it is the second largest employment generator. So it employs approximately 32 million people. Also, the market size is approximately 3 lakh crore rupees, and it accounts for nearly 6 to 8% of GDP. Construction industry is linked to other manufacturing industries like cement, steel, bricks, etc. Now the economic benefit of infrastructure. So for due to power, we get the receivables from bulk consumers. We get meter rentals, transmission tariff receivables from long-term consumers, telephone phone rentals, lease receipts from from optical fibers, lease receipt from active or passive telecom infrastructure such as telecom towers, rental or user charges from landing station in case of telecom cable stealing, transport infrastructure, toll collection from commercial vehicles, storage and loading revenues levied upon ships, landing and parking fees for airports, lease receipt from commercial use of air terminal space, airline ticket receivables, lease receipt from container or rolling stock, from coal, oil and gas. So the revenue is from the sale of coal, oil and gas, royalty from mining and exploration. Next is the urban infrastructure. So property tax collection by urban local bodies, user charges from a common effluent treatment plant, lease receipt from infrastructure asset building using financing. So these are the some of the benefit of infrastructure. The next point we'll be seeing is the construction management, its necessity and applications. So the definition will be seen. So it is the practice of ensuring that the construction actions are undertaken effectively and efficiently. So it can also be viewed in two dimensions: the management of business, of construction, and of projects. For the construction management, we can see it is a mixture of, or it is the combination of company management and project management. So the some part of company management is present and some of project management is present in the construction management. So let us see in detail. So the construction management, we have seen that it is a mixture of company management and project management. Now we'll be seeing what is the company management. So company management runs on the SMART principle. That is, the S represents a specific. So in that, we need that what exactly do we want to achieve. The more specific your description, the bigger the chance you will get exactly that. Question you may ask when setting goals and objectives are: what exactly company wants to achieve, where, how, when, with whom, what are the conditions and limitations, and why exactly does the company want to reach this goal? What are the possible alternative ways of achieving the same? So this is the specific goal. So whenever a company is being run, so that is basically being run on the SMART principle, where S represents the specific. Then M represents measurable. So measurable goal means that you identify exactly what it is you will see, hear and feel when you reach your goal. It means breaking your goals down into measurable elements. So measurable goals can go a long way in refining what exactly it is that you want to. Defining the physical manifestations of their goal or objective makes it clearer and easier to reach. Then the A represents attainable. Is your goal attainable? That means investigating whether your goal is really acceptable to you. There's nothing wrong with shooting for the stars. If you aim to make your company twice as efficient this year as it was the last year with no extra labor involved, so how bad it is when you reach only 1.8 times? So not too bad. So it is just attainable. We need to keep those type of attainable goals. And next is relevant. Is reaching your goal relevant to you? Do you actually want to run a multinational, be famous, and a busy job? You decide for yourself whether you have the personality for it or your team has the bandwidth of it. So if you're really lacking certain skills, you can plan trainings. If you lack certain resources, you can look for ways of getting them. And finally, timely. So time is money. Make a tentative plan of everything you do. Everybody knows that deadlines are what makes most people switch to action. So install deadlines for yourself and your team and go after them. Keep the timeline realistic and flexible. That way you can keep morale high. Being too stringent on timely aspect of your goal setting can have the perverse effect. So this was regarding the SMART principle. Now we'll be seeing the next component of the construction management, or the next point of this, as the project management. So before project management, we'll be seeing what is a project. A project can be defined as a temporary endeavor or an attempt undertaken to create a unique product or service. A project is temporary in that sense that it has identified beginning and end time. Now project management. So project management is the application of knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques to project activities to meet the project requirements. So now the project management, its necessity and applications. So why it is necessary? Construction management, why it is necessary? So to decide the correct project procurement method amongst the various methods. So there are various methods, that is lump sum, fixed price, cost reimbursement, provisional quantities, uh, DB, that is design and build, turnkey, BOT, build, operate, transfer, BOOT, that is build, own, operate, and transfer. Then PPP model, that is public private partnership model. So which model we should be using this? For that we need the construction management. Also to complete the projects within stipulated time, to complete projects within budgeted cost, to utilize the resources in an efficient manner. So these are some of the necessities and applications of the construction management. Now we'll be seeing the next part, that is project management consultants. So project management consultant, that is we generally know that as an PMC. So it is a professional consulting firm with knowledge and experience in the specialized area for assisting organizations to improve their practice of project. So basically, this is the definition of a project management consultant, that is PMC. And when should a company, or when should an organization engage a PMC, that is a project management consultant? So whenever there is an absence of the required expertise in-house, then we can go for an PMC. Whenever there is a need for high quality services, then we need to go for an project management consultant, or we need to take the PMC services. Whenever there is a need for efficiency of work, whenever we need to properly utilize our resources efficiently, So in these cases, we need to engage an project management consultant, that is an PMC. Now we'll be seeing the selection and appointment procedure of an PMC. So first procedure is to identify a selection team or subcommittee. The next procedure is to identify who will make the final decision. Then the third procedure or the selection or appointment procedure is establish a decision making process. Then we need to schedule the selection process. Then the fifth point is identify and select criteria for evaluating the proposals. So these are the various criteria for identifying or evaluating the proposals. So the first criteria is the QCBS, that is quality and cost based selection. So generally this type of evaluating criteria is for PMGSY works, that is Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana. So this is the evaluating criteria for the PMGSY project, that is QCBS, quality and cost based selection. And the next is the combined quality cost based selection. So this type of evaluating criteria is for highly technical projects where weightage needs to be given for technical standards. So in this, for these type of projects, we need to go for combined quality cost based selection. Then quality based selection. So these type of evaluation criteria is for the complex or highly specialized projects where it is difficult to define the scope of the work with accuracy, or wherever we cannot decide the scope accurately. In these situations, we need to go for the quality based selection. And finally, the direct negotiations. Whenever we are making a direct negotiation, so that is in case of an emergency. So wherein we are not doing any negotiation with the contractor or any other firm for doing our work, or there is no evaluating criteria, directly we are doing work. So that is the case of an emergency. Then we need to compile a list of interested and potential firms or advertisement. Then we need to do the short listing of consultants. So the shortlisted consultants are shortlisted based on their past experience of handling similar type of project, strength of their manpower, and financial strength of the firm. So on this basis, the consultants are shortlisted. The final 3 to 5 selected firms are asked to submit a request for a proposal with a clear due date. So what is a request for proposal? In the request for proposal, that is RFP, the consultants provide a detailed approach for the project, including the scope of work, estimated budget and fees, possible schedule of milestones, terms and conditions, if any. The next step for selection and appointment procedure is the selection committee evaluates the bids and proposals, that is technical and financial bids, understanding of the problem by the consultant. Then the next step is they conduct, that is the selection committee conducts the interviews of the firm members. Next is the they give the rankings based on their interviews and results and select any firm. And finally, the negotiation of the terms and contract with the consultancy selected is being done. Next is the PMC role. Now the project management consultant role can be done in various stages. The first stage can be the pre-tendering stage. So in pre-tendering stage, what is the role of PMC, that is project management consultants? They need to review, study and analyze the brief and design concept provided by the architects in conformity with client. Then they need to prepare the estimates. Then they need to do the issuance of NIT, that is notice inviting tender. Then they need to process and award the work to contractor. So these are the roles in the pre-tendering stage. Or the pre-construction stage, role of PMC during the pre-construction stage. So they need to prepare a detailed PERT or CPM charts, that is schedules, analysis for various project related activities with reference to time frame, resource allocation and scheduling. They need to check the structural drawings. They need to finalize drawings. Also, prepare a detailed coordinated construction schedule, and they need to get approvals or NOCs, that is no objection certificates, from government authorities. So these are the role of an PMC. Then the next role of PMC is during the construction stage or during the execution stage, which is the most important thing. It is day-to-day supervision of work to ensure proper quality of workmanship, then checking bar bending schedule, fabrication drawings, etc. Conduct site meetings and coordination meetings with all agencies for timely completion of projects. Carry out quality assurance checks for the various materials. Then to execute a project as per drawings and specifications. If any deviation from the approved drawings during the execution, that shall be referred to the client. Checking and certifications of contractors RA bills and final bills. RA bills means running account bills and the final bills. Then review and approve rates of the new items of work or for existing items of work which deviate from quantities beyond the limits specified or defined in the contract, and then monitoring the work progress. Now, the last stage, that is post-construction stage, the role of PMC is the settlement of all accounts of contractor, provide project completion report, and the third point is, or the third role is, provide adequacy engineering and supervisory staff for day-to-day inspection or monitoring of works during the defect liability period, and issue notice to agencies for rectification of defect, if any. So this is the role of PMC during the post-construction period. So thank you very much.